All right, we are live and
Yeah.
ready to go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I got my good friend here, Celicia, in this evening. We're going to be talking about this incredible product that she created. These cards, which are, amazing. The Masculine Energy Deck Affirmation Cards for brown boys and men. And if you know me personally, this is my language right here. This is my lane. So soon as I found out that she was doing this, I was like, I have to bring this to my audience. I have to show people this product and this amazing thing because it's super important, right? It's super important. And if you know me, you know about adding value to Black boys all around, especially Black boys and Black men. And the fact that she is an incredible woman doing this, man, I had to bring her to y'all so y'all can really get a feel for this and get an understanding of what she has to offer because it's incredible. Celicia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Nate. Thank you for having me. It is such a fortune to be in your presence. I love the work that you do. I've started reading your book to my son and to my 11-year-old brother. So, man, the work that we're doing is definitely needed. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this movement. But hi, everyone. My name is Celicia Shand. I'm a certified professional life coach and author. And I help women heal from toxic relationships. And now, more recently, I help pour into brown boys and brown men by building them up with affirmation cards, along with coaching questions to help them just get into the habit of thinking for themselves and going into their heart space and not just stay in their head. So I'm just here to answer your question. I can share a little bit about myself and my story. So I became a single mother at 29 years old, and it was something that I definitely did not see in my future. And I talk about this story in my book as well. So I became a single mother, and I thought I failed. I failed myself. I failed my son because I wasn't able to create that 2-parent household that he deserved. And I felt like I was falling into the same generational curse from my own family and seeing how many single mothers was in my family. And then just in general among Black women, I think it's like 78% of us are single mothers. And so I didn't want to stay in that space of anger. I didn't want to stay in the space of not liking the father of my child because of his shortcomings. The father of my child, he was in and out. He does what he can. He had a little bit of resistance, but I wanted to see him as a human being, and I wanted to see him for who he was without judgment. And so I had to take a step back. And don't get me wrong, it was painful. I felt myself going into this space where I was really feeling emotions and hatred and stuff that I never thought that I could be the person to feel. But I really did. I was in a very, very low place. But I didn't want to stay there. And I didn't want to look at him and say, hey, you did not live up to my expectations, so therefore I'm going to shut you out. So I had to ask myself, Celicia, who are you? Who are you to treat people differently because their flaws show up different from yours? Because we're all flawed. So when I asked myself that question, I had to really take a look at myself and figure out, one, why did I attract the situation? What in me made me a match to the situation? So taking responsibility. And two, I kind of was able to sit back and really see the brokenness in our men and not be someone who was just another person that was going to beat them down because of the shortcomings. So it was a test of unconditional love. Can you love something? Can you love a situation when it's not presented to you in the most pretty and perfect way? and how can you make the best of the situation. So with me being a coach, I always coach my clients about their mindset and creating the best out of their situations. And so I had to step back and say, hey, a lot of times when we look at generational healing, which is the movement that I'm on, we always think that generational healing is going from A to Z. But there are lots of steps in between generational healing. So generational healing might look like the girl who has two baby fathers and two kids because her mother had eight baby fathers and eight kids. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes we fail to see our own growth because it's so small, and we have this expectation that this our growth has to be so large that we sometimes forget the little growth that we see in between it. And so I had to look at the father of my child and say, well, he's evolving. He's better than his dad, who was completely absent, right? And so I had to just move into a space of gratitude and just be grateful. And the more I was grateful, the more I was able to embrace motherhood, be present with my son, and to also just mend that hurt between his father and I so that we can at least communicate with no toxicity. And I see it from so many different levels, how many people's happiness, joy, just even the joy of parenthood get robbed from them because they're so stuck in their story. And their story sucked the life out of them because they had these expectations for themselves. They had all these woulda, coulda, shouldas, and then they weren't able to meet up to those expectations. And then they stopped themselves from continuing to live life instead of realizing, like, hey, life is for you. Take these lessons and turn them into your fortune, right? Turn them into something that is bigger than you, because it's always bigger than you. And so I took a step back and I actually started by so I realized, like, okay, as parents, we always want to be perfect, but we're not supposed to be perfect for our children. We're just supposed to be supportive, help them process themselves emotionally, and find the resources if we can't provide the resources. So I looked at my son and I was like, okay, well, I would hope for his father to be a better father, but he is who he is. So where can I fill in this gap? And so I created, and I know that having a mindset, a positive mindset does numbers. Like, many of us fail because of our mind. And so I'm like, if I can build a positive mind within my son from a young age, he can become an even better person than his father. And so the marathon continues where we're getting better and better and better and better. So I sat with it, and then I created, for my son's first birthday party, I created an affirmation ceremony. And all my family was like, what are you doing, girl? Just take him to church. And what are you doing? Like, you're doing too much, Celicia, because they know that I can do extra sometimes, right? And I was like, no, vitamins are great, but we're going to do this affirmation ceremony. Because I felt like if my son can get these affirmations from his village of love, then he's going to be able to look back and be like, yo, these are all of the people that believed in me and loved me from day one, right? And so that is just people pouring love into him. And so once I did that for my son, I was like, how many other boys out there like him that need the same thing? How many boys? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna create affirmation cards for our boys, for brown boys. And you know what? The men did too. So I literally took text every single male that I knew, every single black and brown man that I know. I text them and I said, hey, if your parents could have said, if your dad could have said one thing to you, what would it be? And it was a kind of heartbreaking, some of the things that was said, because some of them would be like, I love you. I love you. I'm proud of you. You know, the words that we take for granted, some people have never heard before. No one has ever poured into them. And so I'm realizing that it goes beyond our boys, our men too. They need to be able to pour into themselves. They need to be able to peel back. And so I've been also studying the relationship between the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy, and how we all encompass them both. But I wanted to really focus on the divine masculine with this deck. And so a lot of my cards, they speak right into the divine masculine in the man. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, No, that was extremely powerful. And y'all, look, this is the reason why I was like, I have to have her talk to y'all because we jumped on the phone. Interesting enough, we met on was it was Clubhouse, right?
Clubhouse,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was Clubhouse, and then we kind of switched over to Instagram, DM real quick, and then we jumped on the phone like, boom, and she was sharing this stuff with me, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, and it's so needed. And cool thing is my mom is here, right? So my mom is here, and I know that she does like different things in regards to affirmations with my younger brother, my youngest brother. I have two younger brothers, but I see how much it positively impacts his life,
Yeah.
right? But it's like the reality is there's so many boys out there, so many men out there that don't have, you in their life. They don't have my mom in their life. And it's like they need these resources.
Mm-hmm.
These resources are game changing. Like you said, when your mind is shifted, your whole life is shifted.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were like, we're gonna do an affirmation party, something just out of the blue, something completely different. It's like, But the things that are uncomfortable, a lot of the times are the things we need to be doing. And everybody's kind of like, But like that's the thing that was the most powerful. And you seen the investment that
Yeah.
was going to happen to him and how it's playing out now and how in the future that thing is going to play out. And that's extremely powerful because, growing up, especially as a black boy, there's so many different things going against you.
Mm-hmm.
But that very rarely are people speaking life into you and then
Right.
having you speak life as well. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you're starting that is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And I'm just glad that you came on to share that, y'all. Like for
Yeah.
real, y'all really need to check out these cards. I actually, she brought it up, and I have actually got my wrong way. I got my deck right. Oh, my deck right here, which
Yeah.
is dope. And I actually pulled out a few that I've been enjoying, and that I've been kind of just going over myself. I actually got a lot, but I'm gonna read a few, so I don't have us here all night. But I'm gonna just share a few with you. If that's okay. That's cool with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So y'all getting the exclusive, right? Y'all getting the exclusive.
Yeah.
One of the huge ones was here. I belong, and at the top of the thing it says I belong, right? And then it breaks it down a little bit more. It says the probability of being born is 1 in 400 trillion. How could you possibly be a mistake? No matter how hard and messed up your situation is, you are supposed to be here. And that hit me so hard because being where I'm at, right? I'm the director of the Boys and Girls Club in Atlantic City, and having the opportunity to talk to Black youth, especially Black boys, there's this issue where a lot of them don't feel important. They don't feel like they matter. They almost feel like their life is a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heavily studied suicide rates amongst Black boys, especially between the ages of 5 to 11, and a lot of it delved into not feeling like anybody cared about you, not feeling like you're supposed to be here. And right here it says that the probability of you being born is 1 in 400 trillion. Like God placed you here for a reason. You are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be here for a time such as this. And it's just as an affirmation in a powerful way. And something that I love that you put on these cards, which I think again, y'all need to get these, which is extremely, extremely powerful. Cards is dope too.
Thank
Excellent
you.
quality. At the end it says, what would you change if you believed everything that happened to you in your life was supposed to make you better? Say I belong in the mirror 10 times. So not only are you just reading these cards, but these are action steps for you to take. Like get in the mirror and read this 10 times and mean it. And after a while, that thing is going to start to build up this powerful positive energy within you. And that's just one of them. My other one that I really wanted to read. Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, Here we go. It says, I am self-reflective and hold myself accountable for my actions. I'm big on accountability,
Mm-hmm.
especially as it pertains to my youth. Like I'm telling, like I always spread love. I'm like, y'all love you, but at the same time, I want you to be very responsible for your actions. That
Yeah.
is the one thing you can control. That is
Yeah.
the one thing that you do have the power over is the things that you do. So this spoke directly. Like, as soon as I read this one, it just jumped out of the deck, and I grabbed this one like first. And it says, I'm serious. It says, if you can analyze yourself and learn from every situation you have mastered in life, being self reflective means understanding when you are wrong and seeing what you need to work on. Holding yourself accountable is doing what you say you will do as a product of your change. When you realize the key player in your life is you, you will work to see how you play a role in everything you don't want. And that's powerful. That's
Mm.
so powerful. That accountability, if we can really instill that into those black boys and the youth and the males, just like, man, that accountability takes us to another level because then we start to respect ourselves, the people around us, and we
Yeah.
take accountabilities for our actions and not only our actions, but our community, which I think is huge. So I know you shared a little bit about your story, which was extremely powerful. I want you to dive a little deeper into the cards and the real purpose and also the process,
Mhm.
behind these cards because, this isn't something you just one day thought of it and then it was here. Like this is a process, like
Yeah.
writing a book. This is a whole process. So you
Yeah.
have multiple affirmations on this. So like share with us what that process was like when you were writing these and
Yeah.
what was really pouring out of you.
Honestly, Spirit was like, write these cards. And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay. And I see all the comments. Thank you so much. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be obedient. And I literally just wrote, but I had to make sure that I was in a space where I felt divinely connected. And I couldn't rush through it. I took my time with writing them. I think it took me about 2 to 3 months to write them, but I kept going back, and so the process of where I got the actual affirmations was through the men that I interviewed, all of the
Wow.
men that I asked. And then I just went back and I tweaked some and then I added some that I knew that needed to be said. But a lot of the words were from the men who didn't get them. So I wasn't just
Mm,
making them up. And then again, like some of the stuff that has to do with the divine masculine and feminine energy, that's through my research. Um, and so I had to write it out like a book, just like a book. I had to find an editor. After finding an editor, I found a graphic designer, and the graphics on the card is the look. I specifically chose this look, and I just let my graphic designer create it. But I wanted people to see the faces of the men that America normally would reject. Right? You
that's
got the
good.
locks. You got the boy with the locks. You got the man with the locks. We don't usually see this as successful, right? America rejects the boys. If you got locks, oh, you rebellious as a boy. If you got locks as
Mm,
a man, they always try to tell you to keep it pulled back. But that doesn't stop your success. So I wanted the boys to see like, yo, love yourself no matter what. Love yourself no
yeah.
matter what. I could have put a corporate guy on here with a suit, shaved head, glasses, watching all of that. But I wanted to put the image of who people always say are the unredeemable types, right? And being Jamaican, and I have lots of uncles and a whole side of my family that believes in the Rastafarian faith, and that could be a religious belief, a religious look, a way of life for people. It's a way of life for me, and so I wanted people to expand their minds and realize, like, hey, it don't matter what you look like. I don't care what they told you about who you were and who you aren't. Take the power back. Take that accountability back. You don't need to be the victim so that you can get people to love you. You are
Mm,
loved. You belong. And so, writing the cards, I
amen.
had the graphic designer, and I specifically chose a spiritual graphic designer. Her name is Ariana Satchel. So if you guys are looking for anyone to do any designs and graphics for you, she's amazing. And
Yeah,
then I
she's
had
dope.
to find a company that
That's a whole process.
made cards. So it was like lots of
Ooh.
research. I started off with a company that was in China. They were doing back and forth. I had to get a refund. And then I had to find another company. And then this company had delays and they were backed up. It was so much. And I always say every time it's a struggle to get something done, you know that it's going to be an amazing blessing. You know it's going to be an
That's a
amazing
word right there.
follow through with it. So I finally found a company, and they delivered perfectly. It was 2 months late, but they delivered perfectly. So I'm just grateful. And so I really just look at my cards and I'm just like, wow, it really
Yeah, it's a
happened.
different feeling when you get to
Yeah,
hold something that you created. It's like I did this.
yeah.
Like that's powerful. That's applaudable right there. Like seriously, that's applaudable.
Thank you.
And that's extremely powerful. And that process that you talked about, where something is when something's like pushing back, when you know it's difficult, you know it's a purpose behind that. Like, okay,
Yeah,
something is trying to get me to stop. Like, nah, it's not happening. Like,
exactly.
there's a reason behind this, and I have to get this out. And I'm glad that you persevered. Because I just believe so many people are going to be blessed by this. I think that this is an excellent resource. Like, I write books and things, and I
Mm,
believe it's an excellent resource. And I believe that this falls, right in alignment with that.
yeah,
Just as a powerful resource. And I love what you said in regard to the image, because we didn't discuss that before. I was
yeah,
always wondering, like, okay, she got the image with the kids, the dress. This is dope. But
mm,
I love what you said about, that is what society almost sees. It's crazy. Like, they see your hair and your appearance and automatically associate with it with something negative, associated with problems and crime and all these different things. Like, we've seen it all in the news in the past, where they had, harassed a young boy that was on the football team, I believe, and made him cut his dreads and
yep,
all these different. No, I think it was football and it was a wrestler or something like that. And I remember I had dreads for a minute. I cut them and tried to get back into my corporate look, and now I'm growing my hair back out. I don't care anymore. Wearing my earrings. It's like, you have
yeah,
to be yourself. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Be yourself. And I think that now that I really understand the meaning behind just the cover of this,
Hmm.
which is powerful, it's already telling you from the very beginning to be yourself.
Yep,
And when you're being yourself, your true self, that means you're loving yourself and who you are within that place. So I think that's extremely powerful. I want to, and I know I'm giving a lot away. Yeah, hey, look, you better get these cards. I'm giving a lot away, but I want to read.
before you move on, real quick, I also want to say that the image also is the man speaking into his inner child. You know, if you're
Oh,
an
that's
older man, you seeing your
oh
young childhood self, you're speaking into your inner child, and that's where
oh.
the real healing is.
Mm. That's huge. And I've had a conversation with a few of my brothers about that. We talked about, and this is like, goes into like psychological stuff if you're going to study it.
Hmm.
But, when you're 30, the 15-year-old is still there. The 10-year-old is still there. And a
Yep.
lot of people, when they go through trauma, growing up, when they have different situations happen to them, they stop at whatever age that trauma happened at.
Yep.
Now, their body is aging and things like that. But, you know, mentally they're still in that place where they were once hurt at, and a lot of people haven't released that because they don't address it. And I
Yeah.
think that this is powerful, that he's speaking into that inner child. Like, that's whoo, that's fire. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother level, because that's just so true. That's
Right.
so true. I was talking with one of my good friends, and he said he remembered talking to his dad a few months ago, and they really had like a sit down conversation. And mind you, he's in his 30s, and he
Hmm.
was finally able to get certain things off of his chest that he never did before. He was like, I got to do it. He talked about some things that happened when they were younger that he just wasn't comfortable with. But he
Hmm.
said after that conversation with his dad, he felt like that younger version of himself, that
Hmm.
kid version of himself, got up and walked out the room.
Mm.
And he felt like, yo, I'm finally able to be my full self. Like, I can love my wife better. I can love my children better. I
Man.
can I can be better. And I'm just like, man, that's extremely powerful. So I love that you're doing this, because what this is going to do is prevent us from having to go through that in the future. It's going to
Absolutely.
prevent, those future situations and traumas. So I think that that's extremely powerful. But as we continue on this evening, I do want to read at least one to two more of these, if that's okay. Is that
Absolutely.
cool? Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So, two of them. Okay, I'm gonna go with these two because these two stood out to me as well. My mental strength is just as important as my physical strength. So that's a huge affirmation right there. Your mind is like a muscle. Having a strong mind requires you to mentally lift weights, similar to weightlifting with your arms. Reading, problem solving, meditating, and doing puzzles constantly will stimulate our brains and build our mental muscle. Your mental strength makes you grounded, calm, and easier for you to make it through some of life's toughest challenges. And then the question at the end is, when was the last book you read, meditated, or solved a puzzle? How can you stay mentally fit? And this is huge, because just a little bit of background about myself. My first book was called Building Muscle, Life is Your Trainer. I used to be a personal trainer for quite a few years, got a bunch of accolades, and all this great stuff. But nothing really changed until my mental strength got a little bit better, until I really focused on my mental strength. And I see that as, you're in the gym and you're going against that tension, you're going against those weights to get physically stronger. But out in the
Hmm.
world, you're going through certain situations and you're remaining resilient. You're getting mentally stronger and mentally better. So that spoke to me, because as men, we look to, a lot of people want to be physically strong. They want to appear certain ways, but mentally they're weak. and ultimately they crumble when situations and challenges come up. But when you're mentally strong, it almost doesn't even matter how diesel you are because
Right.
you can handle what life has to throw at you. So this is huge. And then the last one I'm going to read right here, because I'm huge on gratitude. The affirmation is, I am grateful for the many blessings in my life. And then it describes, it says, no matter your situation or circumstances, there is still something you have to be grateful for. Even if it is the fact that you are alive today, there is something. Start keeping count of the things you have that you are grateful for, and watch how you will keep getting more things to add to the list. And then the action step after this says, make a list of things you are grateful for. What are some things you have on your list? And this is important because this is something I practice daily within
Mhm.
this card that she wrote here. This is literally something I practice daily. Is gratitude. Soon as my feet hit the ground, thank you, God. I'm going straight there first because my brain starts going other places. I start thinking
Mhm.
about yesterday or what I got to do later on. I go straight into gratitude, and it
Mhm.
literally grounds me and prepares me for my day. And something huge that you said here on this card when you were breaking it down, it says, no matter what your situation or circumstances, there's still something you have to be grateful for. Even if it is the fact that you are alive today, there is something. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of us, especially as Black men, with the world being the way it is, with us seeing, multiple killings of Black men on repeat, on loop, on social media. It's like, look, the fact that you are alive today, breathing, that's a
Mhm.
huge blessing. And it's just something to be grateful for. And it's another day. It should be encouragement for another day for you to continue to progress and fight to move forward. So these are huge, man, because they're not even just affirmations, but she's really going into detail about a lot of things. And these questions will challenge you, especially as a brown boy and man, to be stronger, be better,
Yeah.
and step up. So I really highly, highly recommend these cards. I have my deck. I'm going to get a few more. I know one of my good friends is on here. She wants to place a bulk order for her nonprofit. She's
Yeah.
doing incredible work as well. Um, so before we get out of here, I do want to ask a few more questions,
Yeah.
um, especially in pertaining to this. So what's the vision or the direction that you see, this going? Like what do you want this to actually do?
I was when I first started, I just wanted it to be out there for individuals, right? And now I'm thinking I can get into some organizations and I can create workshops. Well, I'm masterminding some workshops around these cards, going into nonprofit organizations that speak to boys. There are different um the Boys and Girls Club, not to throw you in.
Hey, we're gonna work on it for sure. This is
Yeah,
powerful.
finding I did some research and I realized there are a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs in the US.
Hmm.
And when I was watching some videos on YouTube, listening to some of the participants, the students, the children, I don't know what you guys call them, hearing their stories and what the Boys and Girls Club do to them and change their lives and give them hope. I just thought about the market, about how many boys really need this. And so I'm looking to get into some schools, nonprofit organizations, and really just pour into our boys, as
Yeah.
well as, the individuals. But I'm really looking to make this group based activities, right? Where maybe they can speak into each other because they haven't even heard those words from their friends, and getting boys to speak into each other and really encouraging them to be strong and to be courageous and to be independent. Am I back now?
I think I froze a little bit.
Yeah, am I back now? I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. A little
Oh,
connection issue,
okay.
but I think we're good.
Okay. Well, getting our young boys and our young men comfortable with speaking into each other,
Mm, that's the whole
having these
thing,
conversations
normalizing that.
from a young age, teenagers, speaking them into each other. So creating group activities where they can use these cards and pull them for their friends and practice just speaking life into each other. So I want this to be an entire movement.
Absolutely. And it is. It is. It's a growing. It's going to be a growing movement. I know it is because it's very purposeful. And I believe
Yeah.
that that's going to fuel you on this journey. So I'm
Hmm.
just asking everybody within, my network of people to really look into this, support this. This is extremely important. We already know what time it is with our Black boys and men out here, and what
Yeah.
we're up against. And
Yeah.
we need that support. We need the
Yeah.
resources. We need all of these different things. And if you know me, I don't stamp a lot of different things. I don't give my approval on a lot of different things, but I definitely approve of these cards. I think they're extremely powerful and they're just a great piece to have within the home to start conversation. For a lot
Yeah.
of parents, they don't even know where to start. A
Absolutely.
lot of parents don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, this
Hmm.
is a great start right here. You know, these are great starts. These are tools that are going to help. This isn't necessarily the solution for all of our problems, but we need the tools, we need the resources. And this right here, affirmations, words, positivity, positive energy, I'm telling you, that's the way to go. So
Yeah.
before we get out of here, I got a few people here. Let me see.
If I can also add
Gianna.
something,
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah.
as you guys hear, my son, and it's his bedtime, so I don't know why he's up. But
They know we talking about these cards.
if I can also add, I don't really subscribe to the term single mother. I just call myself a mother. I think when I say single, I cut off my community, and I have a community.
mm,
But this is also for the mother who is raising the boy and don't know what to say to him. And this is also for the dad who is stepping out of his comfort zone and really trying to be an active father and don't know what to say to his son. And so that was who my deck
mm,
was originally for. And now I can see it just growing into organizations. But I have to bring myself back to where my mind was originally. And it was originally for the mothers like me who had sons that they want to pour into and not let their circumstances take advantage of their mindset. I'm all about creating a healthy mental diet. And that's all about affirmations and speaking positively to yourself, because the number one killer of us is our mind.
yep.
And then we add more fuel to it with our fear and giving
Mm,
into our fear. And
okay.
so working on having a healthy mental diet when those thoughts that tear you down, that block your energy come into play, you have these affirmation cards you can go back to and erase that. Like you hear
Mm,
something you week, no, I belong here. I'm gonna put this gun down. I have a purpose. Whatever the case may be. Like I'm from
yeah.
Chicago, so I have to be real with the environment that I'm living in and the men that's out
Wow.
here, the boys and what they're doing. So know that you have a purpose and you're bigger than your circumstances and your environment. And so having a mental diet is something that you have to practice, and a lot of times the work isn't out there and people don't know, so a lot of times we're defeated because of our ignorance. So once you get that information in you, you're powerful and you could do anything. So
Mm,
just having that mental diet, using these cards to help you create that and get into the habit of pulling these cards every day is what can really change the trajectory of your life.
mm. That's powerful. That's so so powerful, and there's so much purpose behind that. And y'all look. Um, she's doing incredible, incredible things. As you see, the website to get the cards is below. I also pinged it to the comments, continuedexpansion.com/shop for the masculine energy deck affirmation cards for brown boys and men. As you can see it, this is what the deck looks like. How many cards are in here? 50?
50. Mm-hmm.
50 cards, 50 cards in here. Extremely powerful, and I'm utilizing these things, and I love it. I love what she stands for. I love the mission, and I support it because it really aligns with my mission. So I'm going to do everything I can to get the word out.
Thank you.
Before we get out of here, I want you to share where people can find you. Also, share an email address so people can get in contact with you. Go ahead, share your handles for social media.
So yeah, you can find me. I'm more active on Instagram. And so it's continued, just like the name there, CONTINUED _expansion. right? Because life is all about continuing to expanding yourself, right? We never stop growing. We got to constantly grow. And then my email address is info@continuedexpansion.com. So you can reach out to me on those. And if you're on Clubhouse, because now we have to start plugging Clubhouse, right?
Yeah, we got to start plugging in now.
Right. And if you're on Clubhouse, my handle is C_expansion. So all of those places I'm active. I do a Soul Sunday session every Sunday where you can come talk to me as a coach. I'll help coach you through whatever you're going through. And it's all just to give back and to help you. So I'm here for the people. I'm here for my people. My movement, like I told Nate before, is towards generational healing. We're not thinking about what we don't want. We don't want generational curses, so we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about generational healing because that's what we do want. And that's a part of creating that healthy mental diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, with the whole generational curses thing, I remember writing that down before. I'm like, man, if we had generational curses, can we begin to have generational healing? So it is beautiful to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Because I believe in that. And just one last time, because I'm going to actually throw this in the comments. It's for your emails, info@continuedexpansion.
Yep. .com.
Perfect. So I'm gonna throw that in there. So anybody, even if you catch this video later, that information will be there along with the website. Look, y'all, please make sure we support our sister here that's doing amazing work. We have to continue to work together. We have to continue to partner up in order for us to grow, in order for us to have that generational healing that we speak about. Look, people are doing the work. She's doing the work, for her to go out and put this together and take the action. She's not just talking, as you all know from this evening. She's actually doing the work to be the change that we need to see. And I love that. I support you. I love everything you're doing. And everybody, we are out of here this evening. Look, if you like this video, I'm not even asking if you like this video. If you're watching this video, you like this video. So share this, tag somebody that needs it. You never know who may need this blessing, who needs to hear this information, who needs to get their hands on this. We don't know who knows who can get her into another nonprofit, to work with a school district, whatever it may be. We have to continue to build each other up and expand. No pun intended. And let's continue this generational healing. Celicia, it was great having you on and just chopping it up with you. And we got to do this again soon.
Absolutely.
For sure. So everybody, y'all have a blessed evening. Again, share this, like this, tag people in this, and let's continue to grow together. Love y'all.